It's got a highly educated workforce. It's got great labor rules. It's got great competitive tax policy. And quite frankly, it's a great place to invest for the long term. So while there's going to be some perturbations associated with this whole Brexit discussion, long term, we still think this is a great place to manufacture. We do over $1 billion of aerospace manufacturing here.
So is the fear overstated here in Europe and relative to the United States?
Well, like anything, there's the fears of the unknown. I think once they get down the path there, they start to understand what it means. It's hard to imagine a scenario where you're going to not see still a robust market here in the UK.
This is an interesting show because there are fewer large orders being announced, and it has people talking about, are we finally seeing a slowdown in demand for new airplanes? Is the industry finally slowing down? You see it perhaps a little bit differently, right?
Yeah, Phil, if you think about it, the orders, of course, this year aren't going to be the big, gigantic orders we've seen for the last couple of years. But the fact is, both Boeing and Airbus, Bombardier and Embraer all have record backlogs. The focus of the aerospace industry, I think, for the next 2 or 3 years is going to be about execution. It's executing on that backlog. And you think about Pratt with a geared turbofan, we're going to deliver 200 engines this year. We're going to deliver 400 the next year, and then 800. For us, it's about executing on the ramp as it is for all of the aerospace suppliers.
With that backlog, do you think you're past the teething problems of the initial ramp-up?
The best thing, I mentioned this before to you, Phil, is when that first aircraft got delivered to Lufthansa back in January, 16% better fuel burn, 50% better emissions, 75% lower noise. And to date, since the engine has been in service back in January, 99.75% dispatch reliability. It's a great engine. It's delivering exactly what we told the customers it would.
At the same time, though, Qatar CEO Al Baker, who's been out there very vocal about his complaints regarding your engine. What do you say to him when you talk with him and about his concerns that this is just not living up to the performance they expected?
Well, what I would say to him is, I think you're wrong, Akbar. I think, in fact, the engine is doing exactly what we said it was going to do. We don't want to negotiate in public. Qatar has been a great customer long-term. It was going to be the launch customer. And I expect we'll have a long future with Akbar and Qatar Airlines. So we think the engine's great. If you talk to the folks at Lufthansa, at Indigo, at Go Air, the guys that are operating today, they would tell you it's a great engine.
Greg, I know Joe's got a question for you back in the studio. Joe, go ahead.
You probably would have just started talking about this anyway, Phil. Greg,